Chosen one, tell me something. Why does your heart ache when everything around you looks fine? Why do you feel like the world moved on and left you behind, even though you tried everything to keep up? There's something about your life that has never made sense on the surface, but deep down, there's always been a pull, a whisper, a question you couldn't name, but couldn't ignore. And now, here you are, staring at a video you didn't search for, listening to a voice you've never heard, and yet somehow, something in you feels seen. This isn't an accident, this is a return. You were the chosen one, but somewhere along the way, the world broke you, tempted you, lied to you. Maybe it wasn't loud or obvious, maybe it was subtle, quiet. Maybe it came in the form of heartbreak, shame, addiction, abandonment, or silence. Maybe it was religion, maybe it was rejection. But whatever it was, it reached you before you knew how to protect yourself, before you could understand that your sensitivity was sacred. And ever since, you've been living like someone who had to forget what they were born to become, just to survive what they were born into. There are those who are born with ordinary paths, and then there are the chosen ones, marked from birth, fought from the womb, shaped by storms. And the most terrifying thing about being chosen is this: the devil often gets to you first. Before you ever meet your purpose, you meet your wound. Before you ever step into your calling, you stumble through counterfeit versions of yourself. The world never taught you who you are. It only taught you who to pretend to be. And now, somewhere between exhaustion and emptiness, you're wondering, was I ever truly chosen? Or did I just imagine it? Let me be clear. You didn't imagine it. You've just been attacked in all the places that confirm it. This message is not just a video, it's a mirror, a call, a sacred interruption. I'm not here to entertain you or fix you. I'm here to remind you of what you already know, but buried. Remind you that even though your past has been marked by mistakes, pain, and confusion, it was never a disqualification. It was preparation. You were always meant to fall apart, so you could rise rebuilt. You were always meant to be broken open, so that what was divine in you could finally flow free. Now I'll ask you something serious. You have a choice right now. You can click away, go back to the noise, the scrolling, the distraction, and lose the clarity your soul's been crying for. Or you can stay until the end. Stay and receive the words that were meant to confirm what your spirit already knows. And if you do, you'll walk away lighter, stronger, remembering. I know the journey has been long. I know your spirit is tired. But you're not too late. It's not over. You didn't miss your moment. And the fact that you're still breathing, still listening, means God hasn't turned his face away from you. In fact, he's never been closer. You were the chosen one, but the enemy saw it too, and he tried to distort the blueprint. But what was written on your soul before time began cannot be erased by time, trauma, or temptation. If any part of you feels this, if any part of your spirit is stirring with the memory of something ancient and real, comment 111 or 777 in the comments right now. That's not for the algorithm. That's your signal, your sign. You're not the only one. There's a family of others waking up just like you, and when one chosen soul remembers, it calls the others home. So stay with me until the end. Don't just watch, receive. And while the world keeps spinning, let this be your stillness. Let this be your sanctuary. Whenever the world gets too heavy, this space is here. Come back to rest your soul. And if you haven't yet, subscribe so you don't miss the next time your spirit needs to remember. You see, before the world touched you, before the pain carved its name into your chest, there was a moment, maybe only a flicker, when you knew who you were. You didn't have the language for it. You didn't have the proof, But somewhere inside, you knew you were different. Sensitive, deep, soft in places the world called weak, strong in ways that made others nervous. You weren't like the rest, not because you tried to be, but because you were born marked. That's what it means to be chosen. But the world doesn't celebrate the chosen. It confuses them, attacks them, abandons them, especially in the early years. And that's where it started, didn't it? Before you even knew how to protect yourself. You were misunderstood, told you were too much, or not enough. You felt everything too deeply. You questioned things too early. You trusted too easily. You gave away too much of your heart too fast. You walked into rooms and felt things no one else could explain, but instead of being nurtured, you were wounded. Instead of being guided, you were silenced, and the shame began to grow. Chosen ones often suffer most before they awaken. Their purity makes them targets. Their destiny makes them dangerous to darkness. And so, the devil moves early. He doesn't wait for you to become powerful. He tries to keep you from ever realizing you are. That's why your childhood carried so much weight. That's why you were attacked in ways that didn't make sense. Because the enemy saw what you didn't. You were light. You were holy ground. You were dangerous to the kingdom of lies. And so, many of you were introduced to pain before you were introduced to purpose, touched by trauma before you ever tasted truth. And that pain stayed. It shaped your relationships, your self-worth, your choices. Maybe you learned to protect yourself by becoming hard. Maybe you overperformed, people-pleased, or disconnected altogether. But no matter what mask you wore, there was always something behind it. A sacred ache. A memory of who you used to be. A soul that remembered being whole. Let me show you something. The pain you've carried wasn't random. The emotional weight, the confusion, the shame, it was all pointing you somewhere. Chosen ones and emotional pain walk hand in hand. Not because you're cursed, but because you were called. Your wounds are sacred, not because they define you, but because they reveal the very places God intends to heal you and use you. This is where we begin the healing shame from the past, not by pretending it didn't happen, not by covering it with positivity, but by facing it, touching it, naming it, and remembering you didn't deserve what happened to you, but what happened can't erase what was placed inside you. You see, when a soul is chosen, even its scars become holy. And here's what I want you to remember most. The purity in you, the deep part of you that once trusted freely, loved fiercely, felt everything, it's still there. Maybe buried, maybe bruised, but not broken. You haven't lost it. It's just been hidden under survival. And now, as your spirit stirs, it's rising again. You're remembering. You're returning. The storm may have shaped you, but it didn't destroy you. The fact that you're still here, still searching, still feeling, that's proof. You never stopped being who you were. You just had to forget for a while in order to survive what you weren't meant to carry alone. Let the tears come if they must. This is sacred space now, not a performance, not a video, but a place for you to lay down the weight, to remember the you before the world, before the shame, before the silence, that you still lives and they're waiting for you. Tell me, how long have you been pretending to be someone else? How many years have you spent walking a road that never felt like yours, but you stayed because it was safer than standing still? So many chosen ones end up living lives that look good on the outside, but feel hollow inside. Because when you're disconnected from your true calling, even success feels like suffering. Even love can feel like a cage. You might have smiled, raised a family, built a career, played the part. But all along, something in you whispered, this isn't it. You see, when the devil gets to a chosen one early, he doesn't always come with destruction. Sometimes he comes with distraction, a false life, a hollow version of your destiny that keeps you busy, tired, and numb. He'll give you the applause of others so you won't hear the silence of your soul. He'll surround you with comfort to keep you from transformation. And the saddest part is, over time, that false path starts to feel like home. Not because it's right, but because you've walked it for so long you forget you ever had a choice. This is what it feels like to be feeling forgotten by destiny. It's not just that nothing's working, it's that nothing feels like you. The things that used to light you up now feel dim. The relationships that once defined you now drain you. And the mirror? It reflects someone who looks familiar but feels far away. You try to pray, but the words don't come. You try to rest, but your spirit stays restless. That's what happens when a chosen one has stayed too long in a life that wasn't aligned with their soul. And then comes the shame. The deep, haunting shame of wondering if you've wasted too much time, if you've missed it, if you're too old, too damaged, too late, if God gave up on you because you gave up on yourself. These thoughts don't come from truth. They come from survival. Because when you've been in the wrong place long enough, even pain starts to feel familiar. But hear me now. Familiar does not mean divine. Just because you've been living in misalignment doesn't mean you've been forgotten. You've just been asleep. Too late to start over spiritually? That's the lie you've been fed. That's the lie you've believed. But let me give you a truth the enemy hoped you'd never hear. There is no such thing as too late for the chosen ones. God is not limited by time. He is not offended by your detours. He's not surprised by your patterns. He's not disappointed in how long it took you. He's just glad you're waking up now. Your false path was not a waste. It was a warning, a lesson, a trail of signs pointing you back to your real self. And now, in this moment, the Spirit is doing what only it can do, whispering you home. It's soft. It's sacred. It's not coming with trumpets or lightning. Just truth, just clarity, just stillness that says, you don't have to keep living this way. You don't have to keep playing the role others handed you. You don't have to keep dimming your light to fit in with people who never saw your fire. You don't have to keep serving a story that was never written for you. You are allowed to stop, to shift, to say no more. And when you do, the entire universe will respond to your yes. So if you're tired of the noise, if your heart is aching for what's real, if the wrong path has become too heavy to carry, let it be the sign. Let it be the last day you choose survival over sacredness. Let it be the moment you return to who you were always meant to be. You may have taken the long road, but grace has no expiration date. And your true path has been waiting with open arms. You see, every chosen one walks through it. The silent stretch, the shadow season, the dark night of the soul. It's not just depression. It's not just exhaustion. It's spiritual unraveling. It's when the lights go out, not just in the world, but inside you. When the prayers feel like echoes and the heavens feel locked. When everything you believed in seems far away and the pain speaks louder than God. This is the night you don't talk about. The one where you stare at the ceiling and wonder if maybe you were wrong. Maybe you weren't chosen. Maybe you were just broken. This is where the deepest spiritual pain hides. Not in the trauma, but in the silence that follows. Not in the fall, but in the endless waiting after. You ask, where is God? You beg, why won't he speak? You scream into the void, but the only thing that returns is your own echo. And it haunts you, because you remember when you used to feel something. You remember when the presence was near, when the dreams were alive, when your soul felt awake. And now you feel like a shell, alive but not living, awake but barely breathing. This is where many give up. They walk away not because they hate God, but because they can't hear him. They stop believing not because they're weak, but because they're weary. And yet, Even in that silence, something stays. Something won't let you quit. A flicker, a thread, a whisper that says, keep going. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't comfort you, but it holds you. And that whisper? That's the voice of the one who never left. Midlife spiritual awakening often begins here, not with fireworks, but with emptiness, not with visions, but with surrender. Because in the middle of your life, when the illusions break and the striving ends, that's when your soul is finally quiet enough to hear the truth. Not the truth others gave you, not the doctrines or dogmas, but the truth written on your bones, the truth that says, you were never forgotten, you were being formed. The pain you've carried was not punishment, it was permission to feel, to question, to collapse. Because only when you collapse do you see what's still holding you. Only when everything falls away do you see what's real. That marriage that didn't work, that career that dried up, that friendship that broke, that faith that cracked. It wasn't the end, it was the beginning. The divine wasn't punishing you, he was pulling you back to your original design. Back to the soul he handcrafted before the world ever named you. You weren't forgotten by destiny, you were hidden. Hidden in plain sight, protected in the silence, wrapped in mystery. So when the world tried to define you by your mistakes, God could define you by your spirit. You thought nothing was happening, but heaven was writing in the quiet, building in the unseen, preparing in the hidden, and now, the night is breaking. Tell me, have you felt it? The stirring, the ache, the soft ache that says, there's more than this. That's not confusion. That's awakening. That's your soul remembering what the world made you forget. The spiritual darkness didn't disqualify you. It stripped you. Stripped you of everything false, everything heavy, everything you were never meant to carry. And what's left now is sacred, raw, real. Don't rush this part. The world moves fast, but this is holy ground. The dark night isn't meant to destroy you. It's meant to deliver you from the lies, from the roles, from the noise. It brings you face to face with yourself, with your fear, with your shame, with your longing. And once you touch those places, once you surrender to them, the light starts to return, slowly, gently, but undeniably. This is the moment when something ancient wakes up in you, something you thought was gone, and it's whispering your name. Not the name the world gave you, not the label your past gave you, but the name God gave you before time. The one that means chosen. The night is almost over. Keep breathing. Keep listening. Something sacred is coming. Let me show you how it begins. Not with a miracle, not with an angel standing at your door, but with a strange restlessness in your soul. A moment that seems ordinary but lands differently. A song you can't stop playing, a memory that keeps returning, a dream that won't leave you alone. That is how the sacred interruption begins. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's gentle, like the wind shifting direction, like something ancient brushing against your skin. And it marks the turning point, the moment heaven breaks into your exhaustion. You were walking, functioning, surviving. And then one day, the air changed. You couldn't keep pretending. You couldn't keep numbing. You couldn't keep repeating the same tired patterns that once kept you safe. The people you used to please now exhaust you. The places you used to go now feel hollow. The mask is slipping, and the real you, the one you buried under shame, silence, and survival, is rising again, slowly, fiercely, quietly, but surely. This is not coincidence. It is not confusion. It is divine timing, and it almost always happens in the middle. Midlife spiritual awakening doesn't come wrapped in comfort. It comes wrapped in divine discontent. It shows up when everything that used to make sense begins to feel like a lie. When the job, the house, the approval, even the religion you were raised in, start to feel too small for the size of your soul. You're not going crazy. You're waking up. Chosen ones experience this in layers. You begin to see your old life not just as painful, but as misaligned. You realize that the devil didn't just attack you with chaos. He attacked you with imitation, false comfort, shiny distractions, people who praised your potential while silencing your truth. It's not that you failed, it's that you've been following a map that was never yours. And now, the sacred interruption is tearing it in half. And this interruption doesn't ask permission. It arrives like holy fire and holy water. It burns away what's fake. It softens what was hardened. You begin to cry more, feel more, question more. You begin to hear your soul louder than your fears, and it's terrifying. But it's also holy, because it's your original self remembering who it was before the world taught you to forget. You were chosen by God, not by accident, not because you earned it, but because you were created with something eternal inside you. And the devil saw that. That's why he got to you early. But now the interruption has come. And it's not here to shame you. It's here to retrieve you, to gather your scattered pieces, to call your true name, to pull you out of the places you were never meant to stay. It's uncomfortable. It's messy. You'll lose people. You'll lose comfort. You'll even lose your former self. But you'll gain clarity, peace, alignment. You'll gain your real voice back, the one you silenced to fit in. You'll gain your sight back, the one that lets you see beyond what's visible. You'll gain your heart back, the one that was never too soft. It was always sacred. Let this be the moment where you stop asking for the old life to make sense. Let this be the moment where you allow the sacred interruption to have its way. Let it strip, let it stir, let it speak. It's not here to destroy you. It's here to deliver you from who you thought you had to be to who you were born to become. This is your turning point, the breath between breakdown and breakthrough, the space where destiny turns its face back toward you. And you, for the first time in a long time, feel worthy of meeting its eyes. You were the chosen one, not because you did everything right, but because even when you were lost, heaven still knew your name. And now you're being called home. Don't look back. You see, there's a sacred truth most chosen ones never get told until they've suffered enough to hear it. And it's this: what the devil meant for harm, God intends to use as the very foundation of your rise. Every wound, every betrayal, every loss that nearly took you out, it didn't bury you, it planted you. The enemy got to you first, yes, but only because he knew what you carried. Only because he saw the light in you before you could see it in yourself. But the light cannot be destroyed, it can only be hidden. And even in the darkest moments of your life, your flame never went out. It was just buried beneath the ashes. Tell me, how many times have you helped others while you yourself were barely holding on? How many times did you offer comfort, wisdom, presence when your own heart was bleeding in silence? That's not weakness. That's divine blueprint. That's the sign of the chosen. The enemy knew he couldn't steal your power, so he tried to steal your memory of it. He tried to distract you with pain, shame, and cycles. But what he never understood was this: every time you were broken, God was gathering the fragments for something greater. There is no pain you've endured that heaven will waste. There is no chapter in your story too shameful for redemption. Your life is not defined by the devil's interruption. It's defined by God's restoration. You were lied to, used, silenced. But even in that, you were being shaped. Because chosen ones are not built on mountaintops. They are forged in fire. You thought the fire would destroy you, but it only burned away what was never yours to carry. And now what's left is pure, strong, real. You are not starting from scratch. You are rising from sacred ruins. And the strength you carry now, it didn't come from books or sermons. It came from surviving things that should have broken you. It came from walking through spiritual deserts and still believing in rain. It came from hearing nothing from God for years and still whispering His name in the dark. That's not ordinary faith. That's the kind of knowing that only comes through the wilderness. That's the mark of the chosen. So don't curse your past. Don't hide from it. Don't bury the years that look wasted. Because those are the years that made you dangerous to darkness. Those are the years that taught you how to hear in silence, how to see in shadows, how to love when you received none in return. What the devil meant for harm, God is now turning into power, into purpose, into divine clarity. You've been carrying heavy things for a long time, but you didn't break, you didn't quit. And that endurance, that sacred resilience, that's proof that what's inside you came from a place no darkness can touch. You see, chosen ones don't just overcome, they transform. They don't just survive hell, they become the light that leads others out of it. Your addictions becoming wisdom, your shame becoming testimony, your mistakes becoming fuel, and the voice of the enemy growing quieter with every step you take back toward who you were before the world lied to you. So lift your head. You are not disqualified. You are not too late. You are not too far gone. You are exactly where grace knew you'd be. And from this place, the place the devil hoped would be your end, God is about to begin something that couldn't have started any other way. This is not the end of your story. This is the part the angels have been waiting for, the part where the one who was almost destroyed becomes the one who carries the fire. And that fire, chosen one, that fire is not just for you. It's for every soul who is still trapped in the very places you've already been delivered from. What the devil meant for harm, God is about to use for glory. Stay with me. It gets deeper still. Let me tell you what it looks like when a chosen one returns. It's not loud. It's not flashy. It doesn't need approval or applause. It begins in the quiet, in the steady, in the sacred decision to no longer live small. You don't need a stage. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. When a chosen one returns, the atmosphere shifts, not because they're trying to be seen, but because they finally see themselves. After all the storms, the shame, the years that felt wasted, something clicks, and it sounds like this. I remember now. You start to walk differently. You speak differently. You begin to release what no longer matches your soul's frequency. That job that drains you, that relationship that manipulates you, that identity built on survival, all of it begins to fall away. Not because you're running, but because you're rising. The world calls it a breakdown. Heaven calls it a rebirth. You are not who you were, and thank God for that. This is the moment the real you returns. The you that speaks truth, even if your voice shakes. The you that stops hiding your gifts, your wisdom, your sensitivity. You no longer apologize for your calling. You no longer wait for others to understand it. You carry it. You embody it. You let it shape your choices, your boundaries, your path. You don't need to argue anymore. You don't need to convince anyone. Because the fire that nearly consumed you has now become your light. This is the power of the midlife spiritual awakening. It's not a crisis, it's a return, a sacred reversal of all the ways you left yourself. The world told you it was too late. Your shame told you that God had moved on. But here you are, waking up again, stronger, wiser, humbled, not perfect, but present. And the presence you carry now? It's different, it's weighty, it's holy. The chosen ones don't come back the same. When they return, they carry keys to healing, to freedom, to vision. They know what pain feels like, and they also know how to walk through it without letting it define them. You've cried prayers no one else heard. You've walked through battles no one else saw. And now, when you speak, your voice carries authority, not because of how loud it is, but because of how true it is. You don't have to go back and fix everything. You don't have to explain the years you spent lost, All you have to do is stand as you are, right here, right now. The chosen one has returned, and the world may not celebrate it, but heaven does. The angels recognize you. The atmosphere responds to you. Because when you walk in alignment, even your footsteps become prophecy. You are no longer asking for permission. You are no longer shrinking to make others comfortable. You are no longer betraying your own intuition just to feel accepted. You are stepping into sacred territory. And with each step, the lies break. The fear dissolves. The shame lifts. You walk forward not in arrogance, but in remembrance. You are not starting over. You are continuing what was written before the interruption, before the heartbreak, before the enemy's hand tried to rewrite your story. And here's the truth. No lie can erase what God authored. No wound can erase what was written in fire and spirit. You were always the chosen one. You just forgot for a while. And that's okay, because forgetting was part of the journey. And now, remembering is your return. So take a breath. Let the old identities fall. Let the past dissolve in grace. You don't need to carry it anymore. You are not who you were, and that's your glory. You are who you've become, and that's your gift. The return has begun, and with it, the ripple. Others will feel it. Others will rise because of it. Because a chosen one's return is never just for them. It's for everyone who was waiting to see light again. And now, through you, they will. Now that you've remembered, now that the veil has lifted and your soul is stirring again, there's only one question left to ask. What happens now? This is the part where the old patterns try to pull you back, where the noise of the world grows louder, where people who benefited from your silence beg you not to speak. This is the part where your calling costs something. But chosen one, this is also the part where you rise. The first step is not grand. It's sacred. It's small and quiet and unseen. It's the decision to obey your spirit even when your mind still doubts. It's choosing presence over performance, choosing alignment over approval, choosing to feel again, to trust again, to move again. This time not from fear, but from memory. The memory of who you've always been beneath the roles, beneath the wounds, beneath the waiting. Don't worry about doing something big. Don't worry about how far behind you feel. God doesn't rush the chosen. He refines them. He allows the delay to birth depth, the long path to forge wisdom. You didn't waste those years. You were being seasoned, prepared, unfolded slowly. And now, your next step is simply this. Stay open, stay willing, stay honest. Too many chosen ones try to earn their return by doing too much, too soon. But you're not being asked to strive. You're being asked to surrender. Your healing doesn't require performance. It requires truth. Start by asking yourself daily, what feels real? What feels false? What have I outgrown? What do I still believe out of fear? This is how you begin, by listening again. Let me remind you, this is sacred territory. You are not fixing yourself. You are remembering yourself. Every breath you take in truth, every time you say no to what dims you, every time you stop betraying your own knowing. That is spiritual movement. That is walking again. That is rising. And yes, some days will feel confusing. Some days will feel lonely. But the difference now is you are awake. You're not sleepwalking through someone else's life. You're not sacrificing your peace for proximity. You're not lying to yourself just to feel safe. You are building something real now, something rooted, something eternal. You'll find that not everyone will understand. That's okay. They don't have to. This path is for you. And the ones meant to walk with you will recognize your frequency, not your performance. You don't have to explain your transformation. You don't have to justify your quiet. Those who have ears to hear will feel your presence speak louder than your words ever could. Let this be your new rhythm. Slow, intentional, aligned. You don't have to chase. You don't have to prove. You only have to trust the pull of what feels sacred. And day by day, your life will begin to take shape again. Not as it was, but as it was always meant to be. Chosen one, you don't need a map. You are the map. You carry the wisdom now. The truth is in your bones. The light is back in your eyes. The fire is rising in your chest. This is not a new beginning. This is a holy continuation. You're not starting over. You're starting right on time. So take that first step. Say yes, even if it's a whisper. And then let heaven meet you where your courage makes room. The story didn't end in the pain. The story begins now, in the return, in the alignment, in the sacred daily obedience of being who you were born to be. You were chosen for this, not because you are flawless, but because you are faithful. And even when you weren't, God still was. So ask yourself gently, what happens now? And then listen closely. The answer is already blooming inside you. Tell me something, chosen one. Have you ever wondered why the devil came for you so early? Why the attacks weren't random? Why the chaos always seemed so personal? It wasn't just bad luck. It wasn't just generational pain. It was targeted, precise, strategic. Because you weren't born ordinary. You were born with divine DNA etched into your soul. And from the moment you arrived, darkness recognized the threat. You see, when a soul is chosen by God, it glows differently in the spirit realm. Before you ever spoke a word, before you ever made a decision, there was already a mark on you. Not a curse, an anointing, a heavenly assignment waiting to unfold. And the enemy knew that if you ever remembered who you were, if you ever stood fully in that light, strongholds would break, cycles would end, people would be delivered just by hearing your voice. So the enemy tried to interrupt your story at the root. That's why he came for your identity first. That's why your childhood wasn't just hard, it was strategic warfare. He wanted to distort the mirror before you could see your reflection. He wanted to plant lies before you learned the truth. Lies that said you were unworthy, unlovable, too much, not enough. Lies that echoed through relationships, echoed through religion, echoed through rejection. And slowly, those lies became your silence. But the devil overplayed his hand. Because even in the confusion, your soul kept reaching. Even when you believed the lies, your spirit kept whispering truth. Even when you ran, you never ran out of reach. The very fact that you're listening now, breathing now, remembering now, that is divine rebellion against the plan to keep you small. That is heaven declaring, "This one is still mine." Chosen one. The devil came for you first because he feared what would happen if you ever rose. And he had good reason to. Because now you're rising with clarity, with fire, with tears that turned into oil, with scars that turned into scrolls. Every place you were wounded has become a well of wisdom. Every tear you cried in secret has watered seeds of purpose. Don't let your past confuse you. The intensity of your battle is proof of the importance of your assignment. You didn't struggle because you were weak. You struggled because you were worthy. The devil never attacks what he doesn't fear. And if he feared you before you knew who you were, imagine what happens now that you do. This is the moment you shift. The moment you take back the narrative. Not to live in victimhood, but to reclaim your voice, your power, your divine design. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. Every delay, every detour, every disappointment has been part of a deeper forming. So stand now, not as the one who barely survived, but as the one who was forged. The devil got to you first, yes. But God gets the final word. And his word over you is still holy, still true, still alive. Let the world wonder how you made it. Let the darkness tremble at your return. Let the heavens rejoice that you remembered. Because when a chosen one rises, hell shakes. And you're just getting started. Final activation and sacred reminder. So here you are, chosen one. at the edge of everything you thought you'd lost, at the threshold of a life you once believed had passed you by, and yet somehow your spirit is still speaking, still reaching, still remembering. That alone is the miracle. You see, the enemy may have gotten to you first, but God never left. And now, after everything, you're standing in the quiet glow of divine timing, being invited into something greater than restoration. You're being invited into remembrance. Let this moment be different. Not another temporary spark, not another emotional high. Let it mark the day your spirit said, no more pretending, no more shrinking, no more guilt about where you've been. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to defend it. What you carry is not up for debate. What you are is sacred, and your return is a prophecy in motion. You see, heaven does not forget the ones it chooses, even if they wander, even if they fall, even if they forget themselves. When God writes your name in fire, no storm can erase it. And now, the ashes you've been covered in are falling away. The flame beneath is rising again, steady, pure, holy. So what now? You walk it. Not because you have all the answers, but because you've finally stopped running from the questions. You walk it with courage, even if your hands still shake. You walk it with grace, even if your past still echoes. You walk it with light, because now you remember, you are light. This message, this space, it's not just a video, it's a gathering, a resting place, a divine appointment. And if your heart has felt held here, then speak it out loud. Comment 777 if you know this was for you. Comment 1111 if your soul is ready to rise again. Not for the likes, not for the numbers, but because something sacred happens when we name our return, when we confess our remembering, when we align in public with what heaven has whispered in private. And if you haven't yet, subscribe, not just to this channel, but to your calling, to your own becoming. Because whenever the world gets too heavy, this space is here. Come back to rest your soul. Come back to hear the words that remind you who you are. Come back and remember, you were the chosen one all along. Let the silence after these words be your prayer. Let it be the space where your spirit breathes again. And when you rise from this moment, rise as one who knows, one who carries, one who walks not in fear, but in divine fire. You are not too late. You are right on time. And the next chapter of your story begins with this quiet yes. Welcome back. We've been waiting for you.